Welcome back to the Meta Lighthouse Aldebaran channel. Today's topic of discussion is, what does it mean to be an empath or a child of light? For those of you who have never met us before, we're Sarah and Jason from Meta Lighthouse, a love-based organization founded by psychics and scientists working together to create social change through empathy. And Jason and I are also super sensitive empaths who have struggled with our spiritual gifts throughout our lives. So we are really excited to share with you what we have learned about being an empath. So if you're watching this video, you might be asking yourself, am I really an empath? Or is my child or my partner an empath? So we want to talk about some of the characteristics that we have learned about that you might recognize in your own self or in your family. Empaths are naturally kind, compassionate. A lot of empaths are caregivers. Empaths are also very intuitive and wise and have psychic experiences. Jason, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, empaths are very sensitive and sometimes get confused with their sensitivities by others, labeling them as too emotional, not centered. Some super sensitive empaths are conduits, and they feel vibration and energy from environments, places, people, and circumstances. But as Sarah said, the main thread that bonds them or yokes them together is that they share in paranormal experiences and psychic experiences, even if they don't understand that. Empathy is the precursor to psychic development and understanding.
I think there's a lot of labels that empaths attach themselves to. It's just become such a buzzword in our society now. And we like to just talk about empaths as being either functional or super sensitive. And it's actually really a spectrum from being functional to super sensitive, and many types of empaths in between. So some empaths are so sensitive that they tend to avoid social situations. They're so sensitive that they're really introverted. They hide from other people because they pick up on so many vibrations. And then on the other side of the spectrum are empaths who are so functional that vibrations coming from other people don't really bother them. Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, and our primary focus of getting together and designing this program was specifically for the super sensitive empath that is extremely gifted, but sometimes not understanding their gift, which leaves them almost in a victim sense, where the energy is kind of dictating their movements. So we've designed a program that gives you the skill set, mind, body, and spirit-wise, to control your gift, or to so that your gift is not a disability but is actually an ability.
So Jason and I, we created this 8-step program, and we started an empath support group a few years ago, and we've had such incredible feedback from empaths who've joined the group. The steps have helped them so much, dealing with those energies that they don't understand. And the wonderful part of the empath support groups are that there are both functional and super sensitive empaths in the group. So they really can support one another. Everybody has a unique gift to offer other people. And, some people just struggle so much with their gifts, and they need a functional empath to just help them along the way. And so we've seen a lot of friendships created through our support groups, and people just grow spiritually through it. So it's been a wonderful experience for us and for the participants that we've had in our group so far.
And another reason why we designed this program is that we also realize, and we tend to call them children of light. We tend to, empath, as you just heard, is a main buzzword now. But the child of light has always been the child of light. They've created different labels for them in time, everything from psychic to witch to this or that. But the reality is it's a child of light. And we designed this program with them in mind, to again help them to be able to process their gifts naturally. And the amazing thing is that we've seen lives change. We've seen firsthand people come in, work these steps, and watch them grow in amazing things. So it's very special where we sit to see the program actually helping and working.
The funny thing about empaths is they've got so much love to give, yet they struggle so much with giving love to themselves. So empaths are so kind and compassionate that they tend to give away their energy. And so it's really hard to watch that. And that's a part of the program as well, to help empaths really learn how to empower themselves and love themselves so much so they become healthy, illuminated stewards so that they can help other people too.
And in designing the program for the super sensitive empath, one of the reasons is because a lot of the children of light are falling into certain cracks in society that they don't need to be in, and it's all coming from not having the proper education or format to manage their gifts. So we've designed this because some of the children have clear audio. Remember, it's a precursor to psychic ability. Being an empath is extremely special. But, some of these children exhibit behaviors such as hearing clear audio or seeing things that, they might have visitations or paranormal experiences. And the problem is when you're having paranormal experiences and you're born into a family where that's, foreign to them, sometimes the confusion sets in and labels begin. Oh, you're hearing voices, let's go talk to this doctor. And the next thing you know, that this child is then being put on medications and labeled as something that they're not. So the practitioner needs to be educated on what the empath is alongside the empath. So we want to prevent a lot of this misdiagnosis that disables people for sometimes a lifetime. And it's a disservice, because the truth of the matter is they're very gifted, they're very special, they have abilities, and we want to give them the support that they deserve.
There was a time in our society, even in American society, where psychics were revered, and there were people who going to a clairvoyant as opposed to a medical doctor as early as the beginning of the 20th century when Edgar Cayce was alive. So it's really fallen by the wayside, over the past 100 years and longer. So we really want to bring psychic abilities back into the mainstream and supported and understood for what they really are. They're gifts to help other people.
There was a time, as you just heard, where, empathy, children of light, psychics, prophets, things of this nature really governed kings, queens, and all in between. And what's taken over in the last couple hundred years is apathy.
Yeah.
And they've breeded out empathy. And apathy is running the helm.
That's why this world is such a mess. We look out into the world and it's selfishness, greed, materialism, chaos, separatism, people fighting with one another. People are just so disconnected and confused and sick, spiritually sick.
It's a real sickness. And when you look at materialism as a construct of what you're serving, eventually at some point in time, you reach a point of having so much that you grow out of that, and you realize that there's got to be more to this. And we just want to see the empaths have the support that they deserve. And they are the precursor to not just psychic ability, but a precursor to peace on earth. The empathic child of light and the heart of the child of light is directly aligned with peace and love.
So, as we look out into the world and see that it's just filled with chaos and this pandemic that we're in right now, and financial crisis, racial unrest, we could look at it as doom and gloom, but we choose not to. It's actually an opportunity for us to build a new and better world based on empathy. for our children and our grandchildren. And at Meta Lighthouse, our scientists are working on advanced technology to help us phase out of barbaric medical practices and our dependence on fossil fuels so that we can all achieve better health and more freedom as a human race. And these technologies are ready and waiting for us to enjoy, but they're contingent on all of us advancing spiritually and embracing empathy for one another. And we're on the cusp of such great change, and we all need to take responsibility for how we treat one another. And so it really starts with the empaths, because we have so much natural empathy. We just need to band together, educate ourselves, and Meta Lighthouse wants to create a support system, a network for empaths, so that we can grow as a community across the world.
And we're in the process of that. Our groups are growing. There are people finally hearing about this situation, and it is growing. And as you just heard, we do work with scientists in our organization. It's a love-based organization, but it's psychics and scientists that founded it. And we say that because a lot of people in the mainstream that are used to mainstream curriculum might subscribe to science, but not to metaphysics. And the world is changing, and this is the evidence of that change when we have real science working with real psychics. And as you just heard, this technology is available, it's real. It could change the face of healthcare as you know it, phase us out of chemotherapy, diabetes, Alzheimer's. Now, you could be hearing this saying, that can't be right. This is impossible. It's not, and especially when we have the data to back it up. The world is within a pinnacle of change at the moment. And us seeing what we see on the inside with our sciences is what keeps us moving forward, because we realize that the gift to humanity is within reach, but it's not yet given because it's based on consciousness. There was a time in our past history, which is also hidden from us, where empathy did rule and technology did rule. We already had technology for engineering and changing things in the human body. And that's what we're getting back towards.
So if you're an empath and you're interested in joining our empath support program, reach out to us. We would love to have you take part in it. This is our manual. It's available for purchase on our website, which is metalighthouse.org. Again, it's an 8-step program, starting with awareness. Now, what's happening across the globe is it's a mass awakening. Every single person on the earth is waking up out of slumber. It's a time of revelations, and it can be very challenging for a lot of people. But empaths are the first to wake up usually, and it can be very difficult, because you wake up and you realize maybe this isn't your dream. This isn't what you want to be doing in your life. Maybe the people that you're around aren't really healthy for you. Maybe you've grown out of situations. So we are here to support you through that awakening process. And so the first step when you're first waking up is awareness. It's recognizing, I am an empath. What does that mean? Well, you're a conduit of energy, and you're actually a healer, and you're here to help shift consciousness on the planet. And step 2 is know thyself. And as I said earlier, empaths are so loving, but the conundrum is, as empaths, we tend to give love to other people instead of ourselves. So know thyself helps us to understand that we have everything we need within us, including love. So we shouldn't need to look outside of ourselves for those things. And then we get into step 3 and 4, which is about self-preservation and creating boundaries for ourselves, so that we can protect our energy, our aura field, when we're around people who might be narcissists or negative or creating drama. And as you go further through the steps, they're more spiritual. So we talk about soul recognition. So we talk about soul ages, and karma and soul purpose, and then finally we reach illumination in the 8th step. And you realize that your very purpose here as an empath, actually as a human being, is to love all, serve all. and be a beacon of light for other people to follow.
In our program with this empath support material, we've tried to do everything we can to get these things in your hands and to create a program that is basically free. We want to not be in a position to block those that can't come because of a fee. Again, we're a love-based corporation. I hate to use that word, but family is a better word. And again, everything we design, we try to do it. If it's not free, it's at the bare cost. So it's not a company that's based on greed, apathy, selfish gain. It's a love-based company. Each one reach one. We're also phasing into a network where we're wanting people to come and each one help one, not just with the material of mind, body, spirit, but also in finance and in work and stability. You know, we might have, we've seen evidence of this, but we might have people join us that are painters, and we might have other people that have houses to be painted. So it's also a networking thing where empaths can support each other, not just with mind, body, spirit, but also in a third dimensional construct.
So right now we have, we had a couple of support groups prior to the pandemic in person in central Massachusetts. So, unfortunately those had to close down, but we kept the support group going online through Zoom, and it's been a wonderful group, and we're growing in numbers. So we want to have leaders come into our program to be trained so that we can start other support groups and eventually network with people all over the world so we can have support groups, every day of the week at all different times for empaths to join and help one another, not just learn about the steps, but like Jason said, network with one another and offer solutions.
And even, maybe even more important than that, is to have a place that they feel like they can belong. Yeah. When the empath seeks help into this world, here you have a child that's having paranormal experiences, psychic phenomena, waking up in the middle of the night, not understanding what's going on, getting intuitive, precognitive visions, hearing that they're crazy, hearing that they're not supported and not accepted is the traditional path. And then they say, okay, well, I'm going to seek help. They might go to the Catholic Church, the Presbyterian, the synagogue and temple, the Buddhist, whoever it is, and some even therapy. And they still don't get supported because not one of those institutions really make a space that's safe and comfortable for the true psychic, the true empath. Some are more tolerant than others, but again, we want to build a place where empaths can come and be supported, be helped, be nourished, and feel like they have a community to belong with. For me growing up as an empath and as a professional psychic and reading multitudes of people, it was very difficult as a child to understand the gift and be supported. And it's still like that today. So this is really one of the reasons why we really are adamant about pushing forward this constructive program.
And ultimately, we want to reach the children of light. Kids who are incarnating right now are really special and gifted. There's a lot of empaths being born right now with super abilities. And we want to be a support for them, by we've been creating curriculum. We call it our stewardship program for children. And we want to present it in a camp format so it's really fun for the kids. They can meet other kids like them. But more importantly, we want to help them hone and foster their psychic abilities so that when they reach the age of 18, they're not really struggling. They really are empowered and they know how to use their gifts so that they can go out into the world, into whatever career they choose, and use their empathy and their psychic abilities to help bring forth a new paradigm based on peace, love, and empathy.
And that's where we're at. And we also want to provide these services for the parents that are out there that are looking at their young empathic children and bewildered, not knowing what to do. The child's waking up, they're having these experiences, and all some parents can do is say, well, I've got to see a doctor. And that might not be the best avenue. We want parents to understand that there are educational programs and material that are accessible, so that they can have more of a tactile approach to support, as opposed to just hearing what the doctor thinks. Because the doctors traditionally in the United States of America are not educated metaphysically. Therefore, with that said, they don't have the answer to address the metaphysical attribute of the empath. They just have the third dimensional curriculum that only deals with the mind. And the way that they address the mind is very toxic when you start incorporating drugs or pharmaceuticals.
So, in conclusion, our mission to create social change through empathy really is contingent upon educating, supporting, and gathering empaths, young and old, so that they can use their empathy to shift consciousness in a big way on this planet. So if you are an empath, or if you have a child who is an empath, or a partner, reach out to us if you want to take part in our program. Or if you are just a kind and compassionate person who wants to support our mission to create social change through empathy. There are many ways to get involved with our organization, so we encourage you to reach out to us. Again, our website is metalighthouse.org. We encourage you to check out all the things that we have to offer, from psychic readings to orgone, in the empath support groups, and so much more to come.
And for all those science and techie people out there that have an interest more on the science-related things and want to be educated more on our sciences, reach out to us too. Because one of our wings is metaphysical, but we also have 2 other science departments that work on amazing technology. And if you want to support that and be a part of that and understand more about that, reach out to us.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.